Welcome to International Securities Exchange's podcast series. Facilitated by renowned educators, ISE podcasts are intended to teach beginning as well as seasoned investors the ins and outs of trading. To find an updated list of podcasts, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts. Please be sure to listen to our important message following this episode regarding the risks of investing in exchange-traded options.
Now, the way that I think many novice people would take this is they'd come in here and they'd say, well, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the 72 because, look, I can get it so much cheaper. I'm going to pick up the 72 strike price, and Rick, could you slide on down there to the 72? There we go. I'm going to take the 72 here. It's going to be less money, but they're really not going to get very much delta, and at the money they're going to be paying more for the theta. They may go for the 73, think they're getting a better deal. They're really not, because 73, if you take your 73 strike price, plus basically your $2.34 that you're going to be paying for it, you're already at 75.34 in that case, and we were looking at the upside, and Rick, what are we looking at the upside here, about 76?
So, just under 76, yeah. So now you're basically saying that you're going to break even just about the time it hits resistance.
Say, congratulations, you were right, and you just broke even after a month or two or three here. So not such a good trade. So that's kind of the steps that we would go through. We look at the technicals of it, compare it to the other trades out there, and then start to run the risk-reward ratios, and then determine what the best way is to get into it. And that's just taking a look at the EUI. I think we could also take a look at the AUX as well, Rick, and determine how it compares to the EUI trade if we wanted to be bullish, based on that reversal pattern of the bullish engulfing pattern.
Yeah, let's do the same thing. Let's take a look here. We've got support down here right around just about 100. We're trading right now at about 103. Now, on this one, we've got a clearer separation of the moving averages. So I would go with the roll reversal at the most recent support, which was, again, same rationale that we had with EUI. I'm going to go ahead and draw this line a different color so it jumps out a little bit more. And that puts us, resistance is right around 108 and change. So, the one thing about this one is because it's already bounced up, we've got about $3 of risk in this one, about maybe $5 of reward. So risk-reward becomes, we're probably just a little bit below the threshold on risk-reward on this one. But if we wanted to compare the trade, let's go ahead and take a look. AUX January. Let's go back here. 0.7 is going to put us right around 98. Can you see that, Shawn?
Yep, I can see it. It's coming through now.
All right. So I'll drive that if you want. If there's any strikes that you want to particularly highlight on this one.
Yeah, so taking a look at this, going in here, I would have to come in, and again, I'm going to want to shoot for something that's up here, maybe even the 99 level. But Rick, where did you determine that we had about $3 risk and about $5 to the upside here?
That's right.
Just looking at it at 100 here, coming in, running $6.50 with that delta of 0.66. It just doesn't look as attractive to me as the EUI. And it's basically because of that risk-reward ratio that I'm looking at right there. So it doesn't appeal to me as much. And really, what we're looking at here between the Aussie and between the Euro here is we're not looking necessarily as these currencies being weak. We're looking at the dollar getting a little bit stronger relative to those currencies. Now, unlike if we go take a look at the YUK, if we go look at that, we're talking not about the yen getting weak, but we're talking about it still holding down the dollar quite a bit. So the upside here, if we take a look, is really not much worthwhile looking at here. What do we got there as far as the price level, Rick? Right there at that roll reversal level there on the YUK. When I looked at it earlier, it just didn't appeal to be very attractive. Yeah, so what do we have? Maybe $2 upside here?
Yeah, that's right around the 83 level right there.
Yeah. And then, of course, down there at the bottom of that pivot point, nothing too interesting there. So, and the way that candle closed today just tells me that we had a good struggle. The bulls were definitely trying to drive it higher today, but at the end of the day, they couldn't hold their ground, unlike with the Aussie and the Euro where they could hold their ground. So that's why if I was going to take a bull trade based on what's happened for the past couple of days, those would be the ones that I would lean to a little bit more. Better risk-reward ratios, just a little bit more confirmation already available in the candles. And there's just been so much information out there right now about the strength of the yen right now that I'd probably be focusing on those other two currencies besides this one.
Yeah, you know, one more thing that I might want to point out, and I know we're getting toward the bottom of the hour. We'll give Steve a couple minutes to wrap up here, but the nice thing about these FX currency pairs, I'm going to use the CDD, the Canadian dollar, the U.S. dollar against the loonie, is how well they move technically. You notice how, I mean, you could take something like this one right here, and just over the last 180 days, there are periods of time where, from a technical perspective, these things just have a really nice trading range. I'm just going to rough in some trading ranges here, but notice how the legs tend to be very consistent. I can even go back here to a weekly chart. We'll see the same type of thing happening here. Again, look at this. We come across here. We draw a line across, and for about 2 years, this role reversal, resistance, 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 broken, support, it takes off into a new range, but when it comes back down, once again, support, support. I could draw a line across here for resistance. The point is this. I know I'm moving through this fairly quickly, but as Shawn was mentioning in a comparison of these currencies against something like Apple, these tend not to be as, you know, driven by the earnings reports and whether the iPad's doing well. Obviously, yes, there is news that comes out. There's Fed policy, there's monetary policy, there's various things, you know, sovereign debt and so forth. But they still tend to respond very well technically, and that's what makes them very attractive for the traders. So what we've been talking about today, some of the technical tools, can be applied very successfully over time on these currency pairs. So as we wrap up, Shawn and I just want to encourage you to take a look at adding some of this into your portfolio as a trader and investor. And with that, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and hand it back over to you for any final words you want to throw in as we put a wrapper on today's presentation. Thank you for having us on today.
Thank you both. You know, your whole presentation was very, very interesting. And I hate to just pick one point out, maybe since it was the last point. But Rick, I love that chart with the Canadian dollar because it is so textbook. If you've ever studied technical analysis, and that's the way they teach you that these assets are supposed to trade, and a lot of times they do. And as Rick and Shawn said, if you look at Apple, it's probably not that way. And so, you know, you have to really think about your own trading tactics in those kind of assets. But a lot of the currencies do have some nice trends or channels, and Full Market Advisors have given you some trading tactics to consider. I think you guys did a wonderful job. I want to thank you again. Please take a moment before I sort of wrap things up, just for any closing comments. I appreciate both of your efforts. Really great job.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. To find more podcasts on options, stocks, alternative markets, and market data, please visit www.ise.com/podcasts.